Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening. Baho. Why would it be sticky? That doesn't make any sense. Why would a baho be sticky?
I mean,
stinky.
if you have to ask.
Stinky. Don't get aggravated with me.
I'm aggravated.
Are the levels
Aggravated. No, what? Anger and abetted.
What's wrong with you? Are they bad? Are the levels bad? Are there no levels? Did the levels come and go?
It's on the level.
Oh.
Is that triggering? Did I say that?
Oh, yeah. No, I forgot. I forgot about on the level. What's that? I love this song.
Hooray, hooray. It's the 1st of May. Outdoor fucking begins today.
Really? Is that how it goes?
Hmm? Canonically, as you like to say.
As I like to say.
Canonically.
Non-canonically?
Canonically. See, I did a portmanteau of Nikon and Canon, 2 popular camera brands. I'm on my ship.
So, I just need... Okay, so like... No.
Hello.
Fuck off. So...
Welcome to the Urban Chicken Farm podcast.
So I listen to every podcast. Unfortunately, like Keith always records the we record the podcast, but Keith edits them, and then he's like, "Will he? will he? Yeah, will you listen to them before it goes live to make sure that they're good?" And I say yes, and then I never ever do.
I'm always unclear that you've heard the part about before they're released because you always
like,
listen day of like everybody else.
And never fails. I'm like, oh, it's the day our podcast drops, so I should probably listen to it so I know at least what we're talking about. But in listening to them, I hear how I sound.
How professional we both sound all the time. Consistently.
Canonically, I think you mean.
Canonically.
So I've heard. Okay, so there's this thing that I do. There's a thing we both do, and we've talked about it.
Je t'accuse.
It's not like bad or anything. I just don't think it translates very well on the podcast. Like I don't know. It sounds like I'm annoyed with you, but I'm not. So you do the thing where if you think of a joke, it doesn't matter if I'm in the middle of saying something, you just have to rush it out really quick.
Absolutely.
And I just keep talking and just like, I just sound like I don't care about anything you're saying. And then, but 2 things happen. One, sometimes I don't actually hear you.
Yes.
Because sometimes you will, like, we're across the room from each other. And if I'm talking or if I'm doing something, I can
hear me right now?
I can get like, no, but you know this. Like if I'm looking at my phone or if I'm looking at something, I don't hear you. I know you're talking, but I don't
have learned this. Yes.
Yeah. And then I will, like 4 or 5 minutes later, it will register and I'll be like, oh my God, that was really funny. And you're like, thank you. And sometimes you just have to wait for it. Sometimes it never happens.
It's true. Sometimes I wait and wait. And
but I also realized that I don't think I've ever really talked about this to you, even.
Whoa.
I
Is
definitely
this exclusive?
it might be exclusive. So in my family, there, like, my dad has some hearing loss, and my grandpa definitely has some hearing loss. So there's lots of just loud talking, and the TV's up really loud. There's just like lots of
Yeah, yeah.
noise. And in my family, I don't know. We're not um normal. Like, there's some stuff we all,
Spoiler.
yeah, there's some stuff, and it could be like,
TLDR.
it could be like, some neurodivergence.
Neurodivergence?
Could be. I think there definitely
Slash
is some of
mental.
that. Yeah. There's definitely neurodivergence in my family. Some diagnosed, some undiagnosed. And then there's just people with like severe trauma and like, there's all kinds of stuff going on in my
A
family.
whole melange of.
Which sounds like I'm making it sound sad, but it just means that we don't necessarily. It doesn't. It means I didn't necessarily grow up learning the best coping skills / appropriate behaviors. So in our family, we're extremely loud, and people don't allow other people to talk. So if we want to be heard, we just talk over the other person. Mm-hmm. So it's just how I learned to do it. Like, if you have something to say, you just talk. If you're talking and someone starts talking, you don't stop talking to hear what they have to say. You talk louder. And,
well, yeah,
and
I have some of that too.
Yeah,
that's why we have that
right.
dynamic.
So I just keep, like, I'm just like, whatever, it's my turn. I'm just going to keep going. And, like, I don't know. Like, I remember, I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, there were people that would be like, your family is like straight up, like, makes me anxious because they're just like fighting all the time. And I'm like, they're not fighting. Trust me, if they were fighting, like, some shit would be going down. Like, my family is like, not like violent to each other, but like they'll throw shit or like, punch a hole in the wall, whatever. So to me, if you're arguing, it's escalated.
Right.
But like, normal conversation is just yelling at each other. That's just normal conversation.
Right. And if there's a lot of folks for whom if the volume gets above a whisper, it means something's wrong.
I'd be like, your family fights nonstop. And I'm like, we're just having a normal conversation. And they're like, what? That is not a normal conversation. And I'm like, weirdo. Then I'm like, oh, maybe there's a little weirdo in here too. But yeah, I realized that maybe that doesn't sometimes on the podcast. It just sounds like I'm either annoyed with you. Like, I'll hear it and I'll be like, God, I sound like I'm so fucking annoyed with you or something. But like, mostly I'm just like, I got to get this out so I remember to say it. Meanwhile, you're like, I got to say this joke right away or else I'm not going to get a chance to say it. This is my last chance.
Correct.
Which I also understand. And that's why I'm not like
fight or flight
shush.
Or pun.
Yeah. That's why I'm not like shush, because I'm like, no, I get it. Like,
yeah, and I don't necessarily I would be surprised if you stopped in the middle of what you were saying while I was making some quip. I'd be like horrified. I'd be like, oh my God, what's wrong? It'd be startling.
I just needed to say it. I don't need you to hear it.
Yeah, it's not for anybody. It really doesn't even need to be said aloud.
I just have to do it.
I just got to exercise the muscle, I want to keep fresh.
It doesn't have to be said out loud,
sharp.
but if I don't, something bad will happen.
Yeah. What's the Maria Bamford bit about? If I alternate in squeezing my hands,
oh, I don't remember.
I'll maybe not genocide.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that's not the same.
I love Bamford. She's so good.
Yes. Personal hero.
Yeah, I think, and this is just a real quick aside, not what we're going to talk about at all, but in my
today we're talking about the work of Maria Bamford.
My personal opinion, the first season. I mean, I think the second season is good, but specifically, the first season of Lady Dynamite is the most accurate depiction of depression and mental illness I've ever seen that doesn't make you feel hopeless.
Yeah.
Like it shows
Great
you
way of putting
how like she's literally suicidal. She's in a fucking mental hospital.
Yep.
She's like, I don't want to be alive. And you're like, you're not, it doesn't take you down there. Like you don't feel like, because a lot of times with stuff like that, I have to be careful.
Right.
You know, like if I watch it and it will fuck me up. And that was a show that I could binge watch that. And it made me feel not hopeless.
Right. It helps too
with
that
talking,
it's broken up.
Yeah,
it jumps back and forth in time.
But it never. But the whole theme of it is like it's just showing different ways that she's experienced mental illness, like mania, you know, versus, you know, like her, like, because, like, she has like excitement mania and then the depressive, like I can't remember what it's called. But you know, like her depressed, like the highs and then the lows. Like it shows both of those, and then it shows like when she's not on either one of those, or like trying to balance between those two things. And like, so there's never a time when she's like not, you know, mentally ill. It's never that thing where it's like, I'm fine now. It's like, yeah, I have to be honest about being mentally ill. I don't know. It was just like watching it, I was like, damn. And it was like something that I was like very aware of. I was like, yeah, I can watch this show multiple times and it's not going to take me. It's not going to sink me.
Right.
And that's so rare for stuff that's very accurate in depicting mental illness.
Right.
So that was something that really blew me away about that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah. It was like it was like the most exciting thing about watching it for me. Because I was like, oh, I can watch this repeatedly.
Yeah.
And not sink.
Yeah. I mean, that fits with her.
Yeah.
stand-up,
No. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. She's great. I think my favorite stand-up bit that she's done, just because it hits so close to home, is when she's talking about, like, Jesus-y stuff, like how they get you, how they trick you. Yes. Come to this we're having a get together at this cafe. Oh, what's the cafe called? Crossroads. Ooh. So good.
Yeah.
When she says we're gonna play some Xbox 360 or
it's
3. Oh God, what is it? Oh, I can't remember.
Either. It's so good. It's jam packed with
just so
Christian puns.
Oh God.
She's really fine.
Xbox 316, I think is what she says, because it's John 316. Ooh, I know it by heart. Also John 3:17 as well.
Oh, look at you.
I know.
A lot of people don't follow up.
Right. Which is 3:16 says one thing, and then 3:17 is like 3:16 paraphrased. Like it's just a different.
Why don't people do 17 then?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say a completely different topic in the next verse. It would be. It'd be like, is this like the Constitution? Is this the Bill of Rights?
So today's...
As you probably guessed, today we're talking about Primal Fear.
Oh, I guess.
What? Welcome. I'm Keith.
Theme. I'm Z.
And we watched the movie.
Bing, bing, bong. I'm so sorry. You can cut that out.
I absolutely will not. Bing bong.
The look you gave me. Also, I was looking up when I said it. Like,
yeah, to the heavens.
We watched Primal Fear.
Find your sinner. I wish I had a tuning on those tuning harmonicas. Pitch pipes. Pitch pipes. That's what those are called. Pitch pipes.
I got a pitch pipe for you.
Hey-o! I just screamed it directly into the microphone. That'll be fun to edit. All right.
I just want to say I thoroughly enjoy making this podcast with you.
Okay, don't. Now's not the time to come out as a homosexual. But ditto, okay? I didn't write down what year. 96?
1996.
We get old Richard Gere
Yeah.
as Martin Vale.
Laura Linney. I love
As
Laura
Janet
Linney.
Venable.
Venable.
Which-
Venable or venerable?
Just Venable. Yeah,
Venable,
this is why
okay.
it always trips me up as a name. Those are the only two people, according to the Holy Tome IMDb. Those are the only two characters given two whole names. Every other character only gets a first or last name. How's that for IMDb trivia?
Yeah.
Ed Norton as Aaron. Aaron. They do say a last name though in the
Do they?
for Aaron at least.
I don't remember. I'm okay. I know that I say this like every other podcast. I'm never going to retain a name.
Okay.
Okay.
Enough about you.
I have talked a lot about you. I'm so sorry.
Frances McDormand.
Hell yeah. Oh my god, fucking little baby Andre Brower.
Oh my God, so young.
So
But the same voice.
I know. But like
So teeny tiny.
he looks like he's 17 years old. He has huge giant fucking like
Spectacles.
fuck off glasses, and which I love. I love that like fucking it was like 1986 though. That was like a 1980s look, so I don't know why they gave him the big giant.
Because he's supposed to be a nerd, I guess?
I guess.
With
I don't
a
know.
gun?
I
Also, somehow he has a gun?
Oh, well, he was a cop. He's an ex-cop who's like
Fine.
their security now, I think.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. But he's just so little. He literally looks like so young in this. And
Let me just get through this, and then we can talk about how fuckable everybody looks, or not. Frances McDormand plays Molly, some kind of head medicine person.
Yeah, she was like neuropsycho. I don't know. She was like in.
When
she's
she's
an
on the
academic.
when she's on the stand, they make a point of saying that she's not a forensic psychologist. John Mahoney, Fraser's dad,
Oh yeah, love John.
also. Jesus Christ,
I
what's
have
going on
no
over there?
idea, but something's happening.
Also, Ione Sky's dad in Say
Oh
Anything
right, yeah.
plays Shaughnessy, the evil DA.
Yeah.
Terry O'Quinn
Mhm.
as I guess the assistant DA.
As I said earlier, to which you threw your clipboard in.
Yes.
I said he's just there to say, job search.
Yep. A lot funnier when I didn't know. It was
I
coming.
know, yeah.
I guess that character's name is Yancey.
Yancey. I fucking love the name Yancey. It's such a ridiculous name. Sorry to anyone named Nancy.
I don't know that I've ever encountered
Yancey.
it.
I'm just saying it like gnocchi. Nancy. Y is in Nancy.
Andre Brower's name is Goodman. I don't know if they ever say it.
I think they say he's a good man.
And Alfred Woodard plays the presiding judge.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bitty part by Maura Tierney.
Yeah.
Whose character's name is apparently Naomi.
I like that you. It was like 5 seconds into the film, you're like, she's so hot.
I got a big old crush on her. Still.
Weird.
I know.
It's funny.
Even more so after she played Mrs. Robert California.
I think it's funny because I think she's more my type than your type. So it's interesting.
That may be true.
Yeah. That you have such a
She
big
may
crush
be
on
the
her.
exception that proves
But
the rule.
see, but I'm saying like I think Mara Tierney. I don't know why. I think Mara Tierney is hot, but I don't fawn over her the way you do. But it's for like it should be it seems like it should be the other way around. That was so hard to say. I was like, burp into the mic like a man.
That's exactly why I don't do it.
Fair point.
If we're over here proving our genders,
Fair point.
you know this, so
Mhm.
I say her name the way I do because I spent 3 months in Mexico during my college career. And me and my partner at the time would watch ER.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know you were there for 3 months.
Yeah, we were there a whole academic quarter.
Oh, right on.
And and it was dubbed. But so all the credits were red for whatever reason.
Oh, right. That's so
So
weird.
forever stuck in my head is her name and Noah Weil. I don't know why they didn't pronounce the Y at the end of his name. Isn't it Wiley?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just Noah Weil. Mauritania. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
It's just really fun to do. Those are the only 3 names I can remember, though.
Yeah. Same.
Because I already knew. Well, I didn't know Noah Wiley before. Well, yeah, I did. Maybe. Not by name. He was on Dead Poets, wasn't he?
I don't know.
On Dead
I don't
Poets?
think so. I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. He was. I don't know.
I'm probably just thinking of House and what's his name?
Yes. Yeah. That one dude that was on House.
That one dude who wasn't
No.
Ethan Hawke.
Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. Who was on House? Yeah.
Is he the one that kills himself?
If I knew, I'd remember.
I mean, we should probably watch that movie.
Probably. At some point.
I mean, just for the
My captain.
zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Just like we had to watch Rock and Roll High School so you could understand that one segment of that one episode of Bob's Burgers.
Right. Yeah. Which made a lot more sense to me. It really did.
Did it
I was
actually?
like, yeah. Like when
Okay.
I saw the principal, I was like, now
Yeah.
I get the whole frond thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes 0 sense without that.
Yeah. Well,
Why they do that to Franz.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry. I'm looking at my notes. I wasn't looking at them until just now.
Richard Gere and Laura Linney play lawyers who both used to work for the DA.
Mm-hmm. And
Richard
now
Gere is
only...
now a
no,
private.
so I think when they worked together, I think Laura Linney was like an intern.
Okay. She now works for the
And
DA.
she now has a job
right.
there.
That's
like
right.
he quit and she has a job there. But why did I laugh? We referenced that too. I started a podcast. If you've listened to it, just to explain, one of our podcasts opens with me saying regular notes, but I say
We presume.
regular notes. So the only thing I could think I was saying. It was regular notes. So we just reference that This is my favorite thing
This
about
is the best part about
is that
recording ourselves.
we have so many fucking inside jokes from the podcast now that you're welcome to have them too, because like, sorry I killed your dad. We started
I forgot about that one.
If you don't know what we're talking about, listen to the While You Were Sleeping pod. We say that to each other all the time. I don't know. Other ones, regular notes, like all this shit. Like we just say this to each other from the podcast. So if you want to be in I
predict a new one around. Hey, Mister, what are you doing with a typewriter?
This is the thing though that really blows my dick off. I listened back. And I have no recollection of anything I fucking said at all in any of these. Sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, we talked about this thing. And then I listen and I'm like, it's 5 seconds of a 2-hour podcast that I remember. And I have no fucking idea what I'm saying. Anyway, also I was listening to one of our things on Spotify and it has E for explicit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, aw.
We get to choose that on the back end.
I know that. I just enjoyed that. That's a badge. I wear that badge with honor.
Amen.
But anyway, my notes. So like it starts with they're at some sort of function or something, and Laura Linney's like at the bar smoking, and they're like, you can't smoke. Like it's this whole thing where they're like, you can't smoke inside, and she's like, sue me or whatever, and she's like, call a lawyer, and shit like that. And I'm like, you're so funny. I mean, I think Laura Linney's hot, but they didn't give her any good lines.
Your privilege is so hilarious.
I know. I love it. So Richard Gere like inappropriately touches her without consent. He just like sticks his hands around her waist, like in a public space. What? What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And she.
Oh, it's because they have fucked.
Right. But she's like, that's done now or something. I can't remember what the back and forth is, but she says, I wrote down, quote, it was a one-night stand, Marty. It just lasted 6 months, unquote. So
yeah,
it wasn't a one-night stand then? That so by definition,
that's not... it was a 6-month relationship.
Right. You were together for 6 months.
No, but I've had some relationships that felt like that.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah, the whole thing, like, cool. They used to date or fuck or whatever, and they try to have... There are too many of these scenes where it's supposed to be like this...
bantery.
This back and forth sexual tension or whatever. Although... These things, as they always should, and always often do read in movies, is like, the woman is not into it, and the dude keeps insisting on pretending like there's still something there.
Right, and they're always like, back off, and they're like, I know you still have feelings for me. And it's like, this is literally abusive. It's like...
It's definitely
someone said no about 15 times, and you're just saying, I just have to wear you down. Not a great message.
Hey, remember that time our genitals met?
Touched? That one time?
Yeah. Before we get too much into the plot, I want to say this is based on a novel by William Deal, who also wrote Sharky's Machine.
Oh, yeah.
Which, let me tell you, is also real great for the consent.
God. What is it with dudes writing stories and they're like, consent? I didn't learn that in kindergarten, so it's not that important.
I think you just described what it is. But also, I thought it was noteworthy, because this is only those two of his novels. First of all, he didn't start writing until he was like in his 50s. It's kind of interesting.
That's cool.
The book that this was based on was the first of 3 in which the character that Richard Gere plays.
Marty Vale.
Marty Vale. I just keep thinking of Vicky Vale in the Bat Dance song.
Oh, okay.
Featuring him and Ed Norton's character.
Yeah, you were telling me
Aaron.
that. You were telling me that.
But this is the only one, as I said, that got made into a movie.
Interesting.
Which means, I guess, probably this movie wasn't that successful at the box office.
Oh, yeah. It said it had like a budget of like $30 million, and like the first weekend it was out, it made like not even $10 million. I mean, I think it like grossed like $100 million worldwide or something, but I don't think it made much in the U.S. And Also, I just anytime I see or hear of a film's budget, like my asshole just like
I know,
like seizes. It's so difficult for me to hear. Like I'll be like, I hope I survive, and it'll be like, this movie's budget was $700 million, and I'm like, oh cool, 1/15 of that could house me for life, but thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Glad you made a movie off of that.
No, I know. I can't.
I'll be like, this movie failed at the box office. And I'm like, I don't care. I hope you all go bankrupt.
And this is the thing that people, it's hard for me politically because absolutely our military spending is
Woohoo!
just, it's, you can't even talk about it. It's it's so absurd.
Yeah.
So, and that's an easy target, and it should be.
Yeah.
In something like big Hollywood productions, and this is not even a big one, right? Like,
right.
Tens of millions of dollars for a movie that does nothing is nothing. Like,
normal.
it's not newsworthy.
It's like, yeah.
And nobody wants to talk about that because, I don't know, we hope to get famous one day, or we need movies. Just, give me.
Fucking give me the movie.
And sure, I enjoy doing this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching these shitty movies.
Yeah,
but
same.
Hey, you know what? If 1/10 of the budget of Primal fucking Fear was put into social security type programs,
fucking
food stamps,
hell.
housing, anything, I would give up this podcast. I would give up watching movies. It would be fine.
But that's the thing, though. We watch these shitty movies.
That's an idle threat, but
I'd give up this thing I do for free happily.
It's meant more as motivation to people listening. If you can make this happen,
you want me
I'll
to
give
stop
you the
doing
gift.
this? Then
put Hollywood's money where my mouth is.
You want me to stop? Pay me to fucking stop. No, stop. No. But I was
if Keanu Reeves was born in 1963, he'd be the age he is now.
You're dumb, you're stupid, I hate you.
Amen.
No, what I was saying
I just
though.
gotta check some emails real quick.
What I were saying, like, even though, like, we literally watch so many fucking shitty movies, and we do, I mean, they're not all shitty, obviously, we enjoy doing this, we have fun watching them, but, like,
and no disrespect to all the hard work
but what I'm
that
saying
does go into
it is, like, it's like such a drop in the bucket of the amount of movies that come out. And we only watch shit from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And
they're movies that I mean, at least half of them are movies we had never heard of before. Right? I know you'd seen this one before.
Yeah, I had.
Most people probably haven't heard of this movie, despite the fact that it's got some names in it.
I don't know.
This is the thing, especially with the mid-90s, I feel like, mid to late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, there are, like, 5 movies that are, like, really good.
Yeah.
I remember when I watched fucking Remains of the Day, which, you know, again, politically, I don't know what to think about it, but it's a very solid movie. Mm-hmm. Really strong performances. It's got Anthony Michael Hopkins.
Do you mean Anthony Michael Hopkins or Anthony Michael Dining Hall?
Hopkins.
Okay.
And Emma Thompson, and it's not Howard's End.
Yeah, no,
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Is it Reeve or Reeves? I never remember. Anyway.
It's one of those.
And then I looked up the year that it came out. I'm like, oh, no fucking wonder I haven't. This movie didn't get more. You know, like I didn't hear about this movie at the time. It was just like.
Yeah.
You know, it was great movies like Forrest Gump, Encino Man. It was just like, forget about it. No way. A movie,
Fuck. I love Encino Man.
I've never actually seen it.
Oh, man, I'd watch the shit out of that, man. Brendan Fraser.
Also,
love that shit.
I'm certain those two movies did not come out the same year as one another, nor the same year as. Anyway, I'm on a tear.
Remains. That's fine. I'm enjoying it. But yeah, like there's just so many movies that are out there. There's so many fucking movies, and it's like it's really like. And that's part of
why.
Remember
when independent films shook up the industry?
God, I know.
In the 90s?
I know. It makes me sad that that's not really a thing. Like, people act like it's still a thing, but it's not a thing. It'll be like this indie film that was handmade on someone's iPhone. You're like, oh, that's so cool. And they're like, their dad's... Fuck you. No, but it'll be like, their dad's Martin Scorsese. And you're like, oh, then that's not... What? they couldn't get anyone to show their film, and that's why it premiered as a headliner at Sundance. I'm like, what? That's not. No one. Yeah, exactly. You know, it'll be like the facade.
Look at how they bootstrapped their way into Sundance.
The facade of struggle is so like all anybody needs to say is they struggled to get anybody to have interest in something, and they're like, it must be fucking brilliant. And you watch it and you're like, oh, you struggled because it's bad. It's poorly written, it's poorly acted, poorly directed, and it sucks. So no one wanted to put their name on it. Oh, and it won 7 Oscars. Okay. I don't know who this guy is.
He definitely has a stogie in his mouth.
One
half an inch long.
100%. Anyway, Primal Fear is a weird ass movie about. So it's interesting. I don't know. It's like this thing where I can't.
Here's another thing I appreciate about watching films, especially like this with you, is that there's no pretense that we're going to give a shit about whatever convoluted twists and turns and plot takes in order to justify some nonsense.
Right.
At the end.
Yeah.
Like there's this whole thing that like Shaughnessy, the DA, is like corrupt, kind of. It's like you got the Catholic Church buying up property, and the DA and they're losing money, and the DA.
There's like a whole subplot of so the movie.
And you have this.
Well, before we get into subplot, we should actually say what the movie's about. We haven't actually even talked about it. So the movie's about Richard Gere.
I tried.
He's a high-powered attorney in Chicago.
Clearly.
Who is like?
Yeah, I don't know. I grew up on the South Side.
So he's.
Oh, that just ended up sounding racist.
It did. It did. Congratulations.
Your Honor.
Your Honor. Anyway, okay. Pull it together, Z.
Focus, dude.
So Richard Gere is a I don't know, wealthy attorney. Yeah.
Superstar lawyer.
And Edward Norton plays a 19-year-old kid who murders the bishop.
Allegedly.
Well, whatever. It's fine. Yeah, allegedly, whatever. But anyway,
is accused of.
Yeah, is accused of murdering. I mean, but the bishop or whatever, the archbishop
I think
or
he's
something.
Archbishop. I don't give a shit.
I don't know.
I'm
not Catholic, so
apologies to the Catholics in the audience. LOL.
He
former Catholics.
He gets stabbed to death, in a really he gets stabbed 78 times, gets stabbed in the eyes, his fingers get chopped off, all kinds of his dick.
Him in the ice.
I think he gets it's Jenny's get, I don't know. It's
maybe.
All kinds of shit. He just, and it's all
numbers carved into his torso.
Shit. Yeah. And all kinds of shit. It's a violent crime. So, and then they find Edward Norton covered in blood, covered in the guy's blood with the murder knife or the murder weapon, the murder knife.
Murder knife. Was that a hunting knife? Because that would make me feel better about it, you know. Did he have the weapon? I didn't remember.
Yeah,
that part.
he had they were
he
why
had
did
his ring? Remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah, he had his ring, and I think he still had the knife.
I did a little motion.
Pointing to an invisible pocket.
It looks like I'm just pointing at my nipple from top to.
You remember this guy?
Yeah.
You like it?
But it was imagining.
I like pocket. Also that the ring is that high up too. It wouldn't be.
Well, no, I'm putting it into the pocket, so it's at the opening. It's not. I'm not doing that ring. Because.
So anyway, Richard Gere gets a hard-on when he finds out about the case, and he's like, I'm taking the case because this sounds like a stupid case, and I want it. Yeah. And so he goes and he sees Edward Norton, and he's like, I'm just a poor boy with a stutter
from Kentucky,
and he literally is like, whoa. He's stuttering.
Yeah,
all
he's
stuff.
Porky Pig in it.
Yeah. And like this is
to speak.
not to shit on people with a stutter.
No, it's
just
to shit on his acting.
Yeah. And also like the fact that it's like because the big reveal is that like he has like an alternate personality or whatever who really did the killing, and then the big reveal is that he was faking the whole time. So that's why I'm mocking. It's like he was faking having a stutter, and it's like ugh, oh, you're in it, but like the stutter is like supposed to like that doesn't like it's like weird because you're supposed to like it's like infantilizing and like making him stupid. Like he's stupid and childlike because he has a stutter.
And you can tell because he's got a stutter.
Yeah, like that's not.
Well, he's just Southern.
Right, yeah. Like, right. It's like all these things are like, why does that, I mean, I understand that, like.
He was barefoot and had a rope belt and fucking corncob pipe. It's weird. For Chicago.
Right. Like, anyway, whatever. So, yeah. I don't remember anything that I was saying.
No, sir. I'd surely be grateful for anything you could do for me.
You're welcome. Now, your full name is?
Aaron Luke Stampler.
You from Kentucky, Aaron?
Yes, sir. I'm from Crickside. Does it say that there?
I don't think you can fake DID, like dissociative identity disorder. I don't think that it's fakeable. Well, personally,
here's my the thing is
fakeable. Is that a word? I don't think it's fakeable.
I don't know if it would stand in court.
Yeah, well,
fakeable.
I think
the word fakeable.
That's fair.
Y'all,
but yeah, like I mean, I've seen.
Here's the thing: Ed Norton is doing it.
Yeah.
Ed Norton, not Aaron.
Right.
Or the other personality.
Yeah.
Right. So Ed Norton is faking someone faking.
Right. But that's what I mean. But I mean, like, first of all, like DID is like so like weirdly demonized. Like it's literally just
only because of films like this.
Right, yeah. It's like it literally is a coping mechanism.
Color of Night.
Yeah. It's literally what DID is like something traumatic happens in your youth, likely, to cause a split. And that's all. And basically it usually and I've like watched stuff. I'm not an expert or anything like that. I'm not like I just
no.
I have known people who have DID, and
You're not a forensic medical
right. I'm not a forensic psychologist,
scientist.
But what it's basically it's just like your personality splits, and usually it's to keep you like your like whatever your base person or whatever, I don't know what it's called, from remembering the trauma or from having like it's literally like you compartmentalize. So like a lot of times your like alters or your splits will retain the memory of the trauma, and you don't, so that you are able to live life fully. That is that's like fucking wild. I mean, that a brain can do that. Whoa. Yeah. And the fact that it just gets treated like it's like, oh yeah, then you become a psycho killer. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Everyone, like.
Have you read, I mean, not to get too deep in the weeds, but I wonder, I have not done any reading on the topic, so if you have, great. I wonder how more contemporary depictions like Split and Doom Patrol, which seems pretty wildly, like...
Yeah.
I mean, it's from a comic.
Right.
So it's not going to be...
Yeah.
I don't think its aim is to be super realistic.
Right. I'm not like defending or anything, but I will say this about Doom Patrol is that like it does address what happens, I feel like, and it's like and it talks about, like, it does deal with trauma. Like, it talks about specifically the trauma and when it happened and why it happened, and like,
for sure.
that it was exacerbated by, like, genetic experimentation and shit like that, or, like, whatever.
Yeah. So in
not
that
to
case, I guess
say-
it's a more could be seen as a more sympathetic.
Yeah, I feel I'm not, like, trying to defend it or say, like, it's more accurate. That's not what I
Right.
mean. But I mean, like, the way that it's like kind of hyperbolized in a sense is like, oh, you were given this, like, stuff to enhance your abilities, which exacerbated this like thing that is going on in your brain.
Right.
Which is why she has so many personalities, I think. So I think that's, like, an interesting aspect. I mean, again, like, I'm not, like, saying, I'm not defending it or anything. I just feel like I feel like, to me, it's less like, the thing I appreciated about it was that, or the thing I appreciate about Doom Patrol is that, like, her power isn't that has, like, DID.
Right.
That's,
There's, like, one personality that has extra human abilities, right?
Well, no,
Isn't that what it is?
most of her personalities have different ability. Like, basically, she's like
I've
a
forgotten
superhuman
already.
or whatever. Who has
They call them metahumans?
yeah, metahuman or something like that, and she has DID. Like, and those
I
are
see.
like two different
things. Okay.
Basically, which I appreciate that aspect of it. That it's like, oh, you didn't. It's not like, oh, my superpower is that I have DID, which is, like, fine. Like, like, I'm fine if that's, like, a way. Like, if someone who had DID,
It's not Two-Face.
right? But, like, if someone had DID and they, like,
My father
wrote
was Harvey
something
Dent. He was
about, let me say the thing though. I'm saying something important.
I know. I'm sorry.
If someone with DID wrote something or created a character or something like that, whose superpower was DID, I would find no fault in that.
Oh, right.
But it's that, like neurotypical people often, like, fetishize it.
Yeah.
That's where it's like,
It's exploitive.
right. Yeah. Exploitative. Yeah. Right. But, like, I don't care if, like.
Well,
like,
and what I liked about Split,
mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying this is. It doesn't really address any of that. So
Great.
I just liked that the whole thing about the division between, like, there's all the stuff about, I forget the language already, but it was
mm-hmm.
like, yeah, never mind.
I agree.
Okay, great.
No, but I that's the only thing. Like, I think when I was younger, I definitely was, like, terrified of, like, D&D.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, this scary thing. And then, like, as an adult and, like, learning
Well,
about it, I was like, oh, this is not a scary thing. I mean, like, and I'm not, like, trying to, like, belittle it or anything like that. Or, again, but, like, I'm like, this is literally, I mean, like, I have, like, PTSD.
Right.
I have, like, terrible fucking PTSD. I have really awful shit that my brain does to me. So, like, it's just the way our brains cope with this stuff. That's not scary. That's literally, like, how we survive. That's how we get, that's how we live, and how we are able to get to a point where we can fucking get out of whatever we're in and begin to heal. So, like, that's, like, looking back and, like, watching stuff, with, like, the depictions of it, it's like from, like, the 80s and 90s. I'm like, ugh, y'all,
right?
What the fuck? Like,
well,
I can't imagine having
it,
like, DID and, like, going to the movies and being like, oh, I'm gonna watch this movie, and then you're like,
cool,
okay, that's fun. I'm not telling anyone that I have this,
yeah,
like,
right?
Because fuck, But on a lighter note, I wanted to mention some of my notes. Cause, like, after, this is a thing, I think, like, every time, I think every movie that has, like, lawyers or, like, a lawyer storyline, it always has, like, the lawyers, like, sitting down in their living room in their off hours, like, with, like, a notepad or, like, a cell phone or whatever, period of time movie you're watching, just watching news coverage.
You know,
And I'm like,
you're
is that
explicitly
accurate?
not supposed to do, are you?
No,
Well, maybe
I think
if you're on the jury.
If you're on the jury, you're not supposed to. But like, I'm like, wouldn't you not want to do that? Like, that's what you do all day, every day. Would you really want to come home at night and sit down with your martini or your fucking whiskey or whatever?
Or at the very least, you're going to have your lackeys do that.
Right, exactly. Like, to be like, all right, time to watch the news coverage of this.
Yeah.
And the news coverage, and
You got a quote?
no, I'm not quoting, but like, yeah, there's always like, like, I've been involved in like bad, I don't know how to put it. Like, I've known people who were violently murdered. And the news doesn't really, like, it'll talk about it, but it's not like, it doesn't do what it acts like it does in the movies, where they're like, here's what the court happened in court. Like, they'll say like, oh, here's like an image, like here's an image from court proceedings. But like, I feel like in movies, they'll talk about like,
right,
you know, in court today, this is what the public defender said, and I'm like, no one does that on the like, they'll be like, oh, the case, like, you know, here's a clip from it, or like, here's some images from the court, like stenographer,
artist
whatever.
rendition.
Yeah,
Not
and
the
then
stenographer.
that's it's not a stenographer.
No,
What is
they're
it?
transcribing.
Oh, fuck me. What are they called? Court, whatever.
Artist?
Court.
Sketch artist?
Court sketcher. Court jester.
But I think that it used to be more that way.
What?
That trials would be more high profile like that and be reported on.
No,
like that.
I mean, I don't.
I mean,
have that
depending on the case,
experience.
obviously. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never lived
Well, yeah.
anywhere where anybody cared about the archbishop. So,
Well, yeah,
period.
I guess if it's the archbishop, yeah, it's just weird.
I
mean,
think like,
well, what
you
I'm
remember
saying
what
is,
a big deal the fucking O.J. Simpson trial was.
yeah.
I mean, he's not.
But-
he's no archbishop. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a good point. I just mean, like, I feel like every movie that shows a court case doesn't like that, where
Yeah.
it's like the
True.
news details it
yes.
in such a way that's like, okay, this is like
Yeah.
a murder in a small town. Like, what's going on
Yeah.
here? Why are we
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that? That's more what I mean. That it's not that it never happens, but that it with the
Right.
regularity with which it happens in the movies seems comical to me.
Yes.
Also,
Agreed.
the fact that the news coverage had slow motion, like
That's right.
slow mo, like that. This news coverage is high budget. They'll be like earlier today, a suspect was arrested, and it's just like slow motion walking Edward Norton looking like a 30-year-old child or whatever.
That editor got fired.
Yeah, I watched this when I was younger because I had a huge crush on Edward Norton. And I like rewatched this and I'm like, what? Did not hold up. Did not last. This is
Good.
like one of those. I know. This is one of those. Like, I have certain crushes on people that I had them when I was younger. Once I came out, I was like, yeesh, what the fuck? Why did I think I was straight enough to be attracted to this person? Like, yeesh. And Edward Norton is on that list. I'm just like, what? Why? I don't understand. I think he played a priest in a movie. And
I see.
but, I mean,
That'll
like,
do it.
I thought he was cute in Fight Club.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know.
I don't like
There
him.
was something. No, yeah, I don't either.
I don't think he's a particularly good actor.
No, I know.
His career is a little confusing to me.
I know. I used to like very much. I don't know why. I used to like very like scrawny, stringy looking dudes that just looked like they I used to be very attracted to just, like, basically the way, like, not androgynous, because I'm still attracted to androgyny a lot, whether I want to admit that or not. But, like, basically, like, the way I want to present, the way I wish my gender looked, is the men I was attracted to when I was under the impression that I was a straight person, and now I'm like, oh, I just want to look like that. I just want to be very flat chested and I just want to be flat from the neck down.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Yes, exactly.
Flat as a board, stiff as a feather. Wait a minute.
Yeah, but no, I don't.
I had not. I mean, lots of things changed especially in my relationships to movies in the last year and a half. Yeah. Well, not year and a half. Well, pretty close.
Yeah, couple years.
But I had definitely not seen hardly anything with Ed Norton in it before.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever seen a movie with Richard Gere in it before. And now we've seen, like... And he's another confusing one. Like, I think he's an okay actor, but it's like... What I don't understand why he's always put in these, like...
serious drama.
Well, it's more like these really butchy-ass, like, macho kind of roles, almost. You know what I mean? Like, in this one, it feels like he's supposed to be like, he's supposed to have swagger and, like, game and be arrogant. And all the other ones we watched him in, he's like a
sleazebag
cop that's, like, punching people to death or whatever. And I'm like, what? He's like one note, you know? Like,
no, it's true. I mean, and I'm like, I feel bad, like shit. I mean, whatever. They're white men, and they're never gonna listen to anything, and they have a lot of power that I don't have and money, so fuck them. But Richard Gere just like he literally constantly looks like he's about to laugh at any moment. Like he like literally looks like I said this. He looks constantly like you trying to deliver a joke without laughing,
without cracking.
Because what that looks like is you closing your eyes and trying to seem like you're not, so that you can't see me while you deliver the joke, so that you can hopefully get to the end of it. But
he does
you
a lot of
barely
eyelid
make
acting.
it. Yeah,
he's
just like it's so like. I don't understand. I just scratched my arm with such ferocity. It's probably going to be picked up on the mic.
You bleeding is going to be audible.
This movie.
I felt like the star of this movie was
Andre Braugher. I agree.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Second is Terry O'Quinn's mustache.
Also, so. It comes out in the movie. It comes out that like the Archbishop was like having like teenagers like this is the thing that was like weird. I mean, like I don't know, like Catholic puritanical bullshit, whatever. Like I don't care. But like the Archbishop was having like these 18 and 19-year-old kids fuck in front of him while he filmed it. And
what's humorous is the idea that that's like a horrible thing that a priest did.
Right. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Oh, you waited till they were 18, clergy. You know. Okay. Like, I don't know. But like
I know, right? Like
and also it was like okay, so the whole like thing around it is that like he would film them having sex or whatever, and I don't think he participated at all, which again, I'm not like, you know.
Right.
And it was, you know, there was like some coercion involved. So it's, you know, that's the bad part of it is that like they were worried that they were going to lose their housing or something if they didn't say yes. So like that's the bad part of it. But like, okay, so clergyman like directed really bad porn. Like, okay, but they refer to it as sex stuff.
Tape. A tape. Videotape. Yeah. Of what? Sex stuff.
Sex stuff?
What, I have to draw a picture for you?
Who?
Who? Me, Linda.
And Aaron?
Shattered tooth for the Archbishop.
Well, are you telling me that Archbishop Rushman is involved with sex stuff?
I know.
And I wrote, I wrote down, but I misspelled it, and I wrote sex stiff. Anyway, but yeah, so like that's supposedly like the motivation for it.
For what?
For Edward Norton killing him, is that like...
Yeah, because he's one of the altar boys that lived in this house that the Archbishop ran.
And he... Yeah, it's like...
Not unlike Clifford when we see him in the future.
So, the funny thing is, though, another funny thing is that supposedly there's one VHS tape that is used to record off of. This is something they say. He just tapes over it each time with a new one. And I'm like, how degraded would that tape be after just a couple months?
Not only that, he doesn't use that tape just for sex stuff.
I know, it's
his practice sermons. He records himself giving sermons. Oh, surprise, there's a microphone there.
He recorded himself doing practice sermons and then records over that with a porn, but then repeatedly records over. I like also that you have to fast forward a while to get to the porn in it. So it's like... The VHS tapes are not that long, you know?
Well, yeah, it depends, it depends on your recording speed and your...
Yeah, like whatever.
Presumably, he had access to high-end equipment being...
That's fair. The Archbishop or whatever.
Being a corrupt Archbishop.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
there's not much to this movie, actually. My favorite part is the scene at the beginning.
Well...
where Richard Gere is meeting up with his client. And he's like, hey, here's a CD. Track 4 is that song you like. I'm like, that's so sweet. It was like such a sweet little...
So weird, though.
It was very weird, and it didn't make any sense.
You think it's going to come back because they make...
Well, it does, because then, like, that song's playing in the bar when Richard Gere walks in.
Right.
And then later, when Richard Gere is watching the news for work or whatever, that song's playing again, which I'm assuming... I think he's like looking at the
Is it when
CD.
that guy is found dead?
No. It's when it's at the beginning when
it's like he's listening to it.
He's listening to it. Not Ed Norton. Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Aggressive.
I do this thing that I've noticed. If I have to, because like we've talked about this off mic. We've talked about the fact that once the mics are set up, if we're talking to each other, we're just talking into the mic,
regardless if the
whether
recorder
they're set
is
up
on
or not. Like,
yeah.
It's just like as long as the mic is just like set up, if it's hooked up or doesn't matter. We just start talking to each other in the mic. But I've also
I like how we both just fell into that without.
But also I like the if I have to clear my throat, I don't go. I'm like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Why am I doing that? And I don't realize until after I've done it. I'm like, why did I just... I'll be like, I have to cough. I better do it into the mic. It's like my brain knows that you're supposed to get away from the mic, but I don't know which part. So I'm like, if I feel the tickle, I move away. And then once to cough, I just... Anyway. What other notes do I have here?
Do you have any regular notes there?
Archbishop of directing bad porno.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. Wrote down Richard Gere with his face.
That's it? That's what? That's the whole note? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh God, yeah. When they rewind tapes, and it's always in movies. It's always
Your favorite.
I'm like, never in my life have I rewound something that made a sound. I mean, it might sometimes make like a rewind sound, but it's not the sound of people talking
It's not the
in
audio
reverse.
on the tape.
It'll be like the VCR will be like,
Right.
Remember VCRs, kids? You probably don't. Good God. I hope
typical millennial shaming of younger people.
I hope anyone that listens to this podcast has used a VCR in their life.
I mean, more than likely, given
I know.
I know things we cover.
Also, there's like a scene where like Edward Norton.
I gotta get my VCRs, at least one of them fixed.
Yeah, there's the scene where Edward Norton like splits or whatever, like when Roy comes out, and he's like beating the shit out of Richard Gere in jail.
Yeah,
and no one comes in.
Well, Molly eventually comes in.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
Yeah, she's just like, she's just like, Richard Gere's like, no, don't worry about it. And she like comes in and she's like, y'all doing okay? What's up? While Richard Gere's face is like bleeding.
Yeah.
Like, what? This is not. I mean, I understand that they're all white, so like, no one's worried, you know?
Sure.
But. What?
Maybe some of our Chicago listeners could comment on the Cook County prisons. Write in. Call in now. The lines are open.
This scene where Richard Gere's drunk and like talking to the reporter or whatever, and he like.
Oh, the guy who's doing the piece on him?
Yeah. I'm like, Richard Gere, have you ever been drunk?
Probably
because he's just like, you know what I'm saying, buddy? I'm like,
what's he been up to? I haven't heard much about Richard Gere since the last thing I knew about Richard Gere is that he was big into the Dalai Lama.
He
did some free Tibet concerts or something.
Remember they reference it in Scream, which is how I learned about it. But do you remember the Richard Gere gerbling?
Oh yeah,
rumor?
Of course.
God, what? Imagine that being the rumor that's spread about you. No, that kid knows what I'm talking about. Imagine that the rumor that gets spread around about you is that you put gerbils in your asshole.
Yeah.
Gerbil.
And that rumor sticks. It grows legs enough to become such an urban myth that it makes it back around into a movie.
Richard Gere puts gerbils in his ass because he likes how it feels when they crawl around to get out.
No, but that's a real thing. It's called smurfing.
It's called gerbling.
Gerbing.
What?
Gerbing.
Really? No, you're such a shit.
Why, you believe that one, but not smurfing?
No, because it's a gerbil, not a smurf. Doy.
Oh, fair point.
Also, I know it's called gerbling. But I thought, maybe I misheard, and it's just gerbing.
Yeah. Yeah. Moment of silence.
Also, I wrote down, it's like borderline propaganda.
Borderline?
Right. Well, because there's not really any cops in it. That's why it's borderline propaganda. But it does do the whole thing of like Richard Gere is defending a bad guy, so he's evil. But like the whole justice system is fucked up. So it's like no one's like there's not a way to like I honestly like I respect people that defend bad guys more than I respect people that try to put them away.
Yeah, but he's doing it for selfish reasons, you know. Yes, I would say I definitely wrap any sort of representation of the law.
Right.
So our justice system, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's so weird. Also,
I mean, a specific subset, right? Like
Laura Linney calls him a sick twist, which I love that. I love that.
It's pretty good. How about, we talked about this at the time, they meet in a bar. This trope that happens in movies where people meet up and then someone storms out like right after their food or beverage has arrived.
Yes, it's so annoying. I hate that. They do that in Mr. Mercedes
Do they?
Well, no, but like, hold on. There's a scene in Mr. Mercedes where Holly is like uncomfortable at a restaurant, and she's like, I should probably leave. Like they put their food down, and she's like, I should probably go. And he's like the guy that she's with is like, oh, and she's like, I'm sorry. I know we just got our food. I know this is really bad timing. I just think I should leave. And I like, because I'm like, oh, that you are explaining, you're acknowledging that you just got your food and that it's awkward.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh,
That's
I like
nice.
that. Yeah. Like, oh, it's not lampshading, but it's like you're acknowledging that that's a thing that you know, that like you're it's because it's not like acknowledging that it's a thing that happened. It's acknowledging that your food just got there. It's like that.
Right.
Basically, that's all I need.
Yeah, right.
You to acknowledge that, like, and I know that like not every place. I mean, like in the U.S., like people get food to go, and that's not so much elsewhere.
Oh, I see.
But I can't stand whenever you see people like not take, like they'll have like a food that they just leave. I'm like, but
I know. I could have eaten that.
I know.
You could have given that to me.
Like the biggest heartbreak in life is when you're at a restaurant, you don't eat everything, you put it in a to-go container,
and then you
go
leave
home and you realize that you left it behind.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yes.
Heartbreaking. I used to do that all the time, and it would like literally I would have like a whole meltdown.
Yes.
Over the fact that I left food behind. I'm like, a whole country's starving because I left mine to-go container.
It's true.
Behind, you know.
The proper thing to do is to bring it home and leave it in your fridge until it goes bad, and then throw it out.
Yeah. No, I know.
You're never going to eat that extra rice from the
God,
Chinese restaurant.
No.
Or those steak fries that you didn't eat in the first place because they were too soggy. And
too soggy?
No,
whatever. I love soggy fries, man.
Oh, I was just thinking of,
like,
what does the Marnock say? Steak fries, always soggy.
Yeah.
Na 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 na.
Na 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 na.
This is no Jagged Edge, I'll tell you that.
It's true. Yeah, it didn't have like there wasn't a lot to it.
Well, there is a lot to it.
Well,
it's just not interesting.
Well, yeah. What I mean is that probably sounded like, I hope that sounds like a wet fart. When you play it back, I just like put my like notepad on the floor, but I did it in such a way it was like, it's just anyway. There just wasn't a lot of like, I mean, I knew some of what was gonna happen. Like I knew the end. Like I knew that Edward Norton was gonna like, was faking. I remembered that, but I didn't really remember anything that happened throughout. So, but even so, it didn't. I was like, it's not that good.
No, it's not good.
Yeah, this movie it's a little dookie of a movie. It's kind of poop. Honestly, the characters in it that I really like, Alfre Woodard.
Yeah, who barely has any lines.
She barely has any lines, but like she's just like fuck off, fuck you, fuck off, and fuck you too.
Yeah. Always great.
I love when like
Always
Laura
great.
Linney like goes to like, because like again Laura Linney's constantly trying to fucking smoke in public places.
Oh, yeah, what?
Girl, I don't give a shit.
Remember how hard it was to be a smoker in the late 90s when everybody was starting to ban smoking?
And she's like going to light up, and Alfre Woodard like is like, I know you're not doing that in my office, and I love that she just like puts it down. She's like, she's not even on. She just starts to walk in the room. Not even like, she doesn't even see Laura Linney yet. Like she's behind Laura Linney, and she's like, no, you're not smoking in here. And Laura Linney's like, ugh. Even though I think Laura Linney is so fucking hot. I don't know why. I just think Laura Linney's so hot.
She's topless for a second in this movie.
Laura Linney is?
Yes?
No, she's not.
Isn't this the movie where you're like, this is when I
No, that's Love Actually.
Oh, fuck. God damn it. This is the problem with watching so many movies all the goddamn time.
Yeah,
Part of the
a
reason.
whole 2.
Well, it's just, you talked about smoking. And last night we watched Along Came a Spider. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Down Came the Spider?
Along Came
Along Came a Spider to wash the... But fucking Margot Robbie's character. No, what's her name? Harriet Potter.
Monica Potter.
Monica Potter's character is always smoking. Or trying to smoke.
Okay. She's in Patch Adams. We should watch that. Keith's not going to talk to me for the rest of the day because I...
Oh, I had 2 beginnings of jokes that I wrote down as notes. One is Jodie Foster Stoltz does not take the stand.
Oh, right. Yes. Because there was the... Yeah.
Another altar boy, is that who they were supposed to be?
Yeah. I
They
think
were
they
going to
were
call
like...
and
Yeah.
then didn't for whatever reason? Or they did and didn't show it?
No. What happened was I think he was being referenced as, like, they weren't going to call him, but they, like, pointed to him that, like,
he was in the audience.
he was, and it was, like, basically he had come out against the Archbishop as a kid.
Uh-huh.
I think. Or like a young or teen or something like, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what age range it was, but he had done it for like 10 years prior.
Oh.
And
Oh, that's the connection to Shaughnessy,
yeah,
right?
that he like was like he like
Killed it.
Yeah, basically it was like, we're not doing anything with it.
Right.
And so they were just like, "Oh, do you know this person?" And then he's like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, interesting, because it says that you were the person that dealt with this case."
Right. The other one, this is just a setup. I didn't have the punchline. This trial has more approaches to the bench than... I don't know how to finish it. Write in if you have the punchline. Because they're constantly... The judge is constantly calling them to the...
I know. I kind of love it, though. She's just like, ugh.
Counselor's approach.
Yeah.
At the drop, nothing, for no reason half the time.
I know.
They're like, what are you guys doing for lunch? Although, remember, I loved it. At one point, Alfred Woodard comes out with a glass of iced tea.
Yes. I love it. Yeah. Just drink. Yeah. It's like not explained at all. And like, it would be one thing that if like every time it was like, that's her thing, she drinks iced tea, but it's literally
it's just
just
once.
like a half a
One
second
day.
of her holding a glass of
Yeah.
iced tea.
Love it.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Did I say who directed this?
God, I hope.
I don't think I
Not.
did. Because...
I don't think so either.
Gregory Hoblet. I didn't even bother to look up anything else they've done. Didn't you say that the judge was written as a
60-plus white man?
Yeah.
Which
go figure?
This movie would be so less. I mean, not that Alfre Woodard gets the screen time she deserves, but it would be even less interesting if she weren't.
Her presence makes it 25% better. You know?
Yeah. The good
Her
part.
absence would make it 50% worse.
Literally. Like.
Not a total 50. Well, whatever.
Like. Yeah.
Math doesn't work.
I like Andre Brower's character in this too.
Yeah, he's probably the best character.
Yeah.
Huh?
Him, Maura Tierney.
Frances McDormand. It's fine.
She's fine. Yeah.
I just also haven't seen her in a lot, so it's exciting to see her.
Yeah.
Anything pre-Fargo is exciting to me.
Yeah, totally.
Olive Kitteridge. That thing I still want to watch.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
I have acquired it.
I can't. I think it's like on one of our.
That's you.
That's you. Fuck you.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I can't wait till the next one. I really, really, really want to watch Single White Female. I really want you to watch that.
I've never watched that.
I know. I want to watch that.
It's too bad that we watched fucking Fatal Attraction and Basic Instinct and
Before we started.
I mean, Basic Instinct shouldn't really be in that category. I conflate it with the crazy scorned woman trope. That's not really what Basic Instinct is.
I mean, kind of is.
I mean, okay, but not like,
Yeah, it is. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Who's in Single White Female?
It's Jennifer, Jason Lee, and Bridget Fonda.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really it's not good. I
Okay.
can't defend it. We love that movie. Also, Steven Weber's in it.
Oh. I know you probably. I think you've seen it, right? Like, but I want to watch this, the TV version of The Shining with him.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's rough. It's literally like I don't even know how to explain how it takes the. It's basically like how like the Overlook Hotel or whatever is like this big place.
They turn it into a B&B, right?
It's literally just like
just
a
little
like a cottage.
yeah.
And it's like and it like you don't need it's wildly and it's like not winter time at all. It's so there's so much that's like so it's the budget was so little budget. Yeah, it's just
Also want to watch Trucks, which is based on the same story that Maximum Overdrive was.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah. I don't know about Trucks. I mean, I think you were telling me about Trucks, but I don't know that I'd heard
It's a more
before.
serious depiction, yeah.
Interesting.
Which apparently fits the tone of the original story. But I mean, it's going to be apples and oranges. It's not going to be. They should not really be compared.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, Primal Fear is a dookie of a turd.
You
of
can
a
probably
movie.
skip it.
Yeah. Not a good depiction of DID as it's fetishized. Also faked.
Correct.
So yeah, not great. Not great.
Nah.
No, that's okay. Woo, man. Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
William Deal. What's your deal?
What's the deal, William?
Yeah.
All right.
What's the frequency, Kenneth? Not even a good Michael Stipe.
That was supposed to be Michael Stipe.
Well, I mean,
Sorry, that sounded rude.
Yep.
I can't do Michael Stipe either. I can't even try to do Michael Stipe because I would have tried if I could even think of to try.
I just noticed he really hits E sounds, so he hangs. If you believe.
If you believe.
No, I'm going to cut this out because I hate how I sound.
That's fine. Yes. All
right.
of that. Okay, we'll see you next time where we may talk about Single White Female. We might talk about something else that we
Who the
watched.
fuck knows?
We might talk about that other movie that maybe Bound at some point. It's all just going to be lesbian thrillers.
Oh, I wish. Oh. If you know of any lesbian thrillers,
There's one.
write to us.
There's one that I watched and it's not good. It's neither of those movies. I don't remember what it's called. It's terrible. At the fart. But that's just
Do it, I dare you.
I don't think it's going to come out.
Okay. Talk to you later.
If you want to just cut after me hysterically laughing, that's fine.
Pipes are bursting again, John.
Solidão de quem tremeu na tentação do céu e desencanto, eis o que o céu me deu. Serei bem eu sob este